Good morning. My name is Dr. Ira Ripstein, Associate Dean, Undergraduate Medical Education, and I am pleased to welcome you all, virtually for the most part, except for the members of the class of 2025, to the Max Rady College of Medicine's inaugural exercises and white coat ceremony. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed much in the way we teach, learn, live, and celebrate special occasions. We've done our best to make today's virtual inaugural day special for each member of the class of 2025 and their families, while social distancing and adhering to safety protocols, as well as following capacity restrictions and public health recommendations. Students will now enter the theater at 4 different entrances. Welcome, students. Please rise for the singing of O Canada, sung by Med 3 student Ariel Baujan and accompanied by Med 4 student Katrina Leong. Was a great performance. Thank you to our talented medical students. Please be seated. Now, it's my privilege to invite Elder Margaret Lavallee to give a blessing virtually. Margaret Lavallee is Elder in Residence at Ongamazin, the Indigenous Institute of Health and Healing in the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences. Elder Lavallee.
Anin, Dancy, Dinawe Maganitok. Hello, good morning, my relatives. I have been taught that for many years to, whenever I do a prayer, to acknowledge all of the people that are in the audience as my relatives, the people relatives. And it is said that Everything is our relatives. Even the natural law has become our relatives, is the teaching that I received many years ago. As I listen to the song, "O Canada," touches my heart that those words are beautiful. And they are one of our children, group of children, can sing that song in a original language. And it's very, very powerful. So I want to say miigwech to the singer. She has a beautiful voice. And the person who was doing the music, the piano. So I want to say miigwech for that. And I want to say miigwech to the people who invited me to do the blessing or the opening prayer for all the students this year too. Again, I forgot to say that this last few minutes ago with the first group. So I want to acknowledge that right now. Is that I think it's very important that we always say thank you, miigwech, for the invites, for the acknowledgement of our land, for the acknowledgement of our people in this university. The name that the grandmothers and grandfathers have honored me with is Water Lilane. I'm of the Bear Clan. I'm also known as Margaret LaValle at the university. And that's my English name. But I'm told that I have to acknowledge the name that I was given by the elders. And so I've done that. And I want to say miigwech for that. The elder who gave me the name several years ago when I went back to search for our culture and our spirituality that we had could not practice in residential school. So here I am with you all today, and I congratulate you with this white coat ceremony. And I'm thinking, how would I say white coat ceremony in my language? Wapshke is white. Ubiskogan is coat. So if we were to say that as we start off our ceremony, it would be a very long word. So white coat is indeed an honor for all of you. And you will be wearing this white coat for 4 years, perhaps forever in your career. As time goes on, it'll get longer and longer. So I congratulate you, all the students, and I congratulate the parents, the grandparents of the students that are here today. I want to say my prayer in my language. I say thank you, Creator. Thank you for life, and thank you for the students that are here today. This is our wish. These ones that are coming to the university to learn how to treat people, to learn how to try to heal people in the best way they know how. We say thank you for that. For all of you that will be working hard in the next few years to learn all these things that you're about to engage in. There's so many, many, many things that goes on in these years to come. So many exciting things. The best time of your life is here. At least that's what I used to think when I was going to university. And I think about that now. Those were the fun times. Those were the best times of my life. It's a door opening, a door to your mind, a door to your soul, a door to your physical being. There's so much to learn. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time for you. And we are at the university as well, Ongomasin it's called. We're part of the university. And this is where our students come who are interested in the area of health and medicine. And so for those of you who are not part of Ongomasin, you are most welcome to come and sit with us at some point in time, if you have the time, because you're going to be very busy. I know that. So you're welcome to come and join us for a visit. Kchimigwech kjemanido. Ebugosenda mango kawi pikenda siot. Aninge jingano moat ni janishnabe minhanek. Abenunji yakuda kaakuziot. We ask the Creator on behalf of all of us to guide you in a good way as you're learning, as you're studying, to guide you in a very special way when you look after our people. And many of our people will be coming into the hospital that you're going to be training in. And they will be seeking for help, and they will be seeking for understanding. And with this, we try to provide that kind of knowledge to you so that things will work out for you in terms of communication, empathy, and understanding of our people. And we always encourage humility and humbleness in your spirit as you enter to speak with our people. I give thanks to the grandmothers and grandfathers who walked the sacred land before us. And we always ask for guidance so that we will do things in a good way. And always open your hearts and minds in a good way, without prejudice, without discrimination, because it's much needed in times of healing times. So for this I say miigwech, a kenandin we magna, all my relations, thank you.
The University of Manitoba campuses are located on the lands of the Anishinaabeg, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I would like to begin by introducing this morning's speakers. Typically, they would have been up on stage with Dean Postal and me. The Honorary Audrey Gordon, Minister of Health and Seniors Care. Dr. Michael Benarosh, President and Vice Chancellor, University of Manitoba. Dr. Perry Gray, Provincial Lead, Medical Specialist Services and Chief Medical Officer. Dr. Anna Giomic, Registrar, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba. And Dr. Jared Bullard, U of M alumnus, Section Head of Pediatric Infectious Diseases and liaison to the Manitoba HIV program for both pediatrics and laboratory medicine, Associate Medical Director of CADM Provincial Laboratory, and on team directing the provincial response to the COVID-19 pandemic, who will give today's Allen Class Memorial Address. I'm pleased now to introduce Dr. Brian Postal, Dean, Max Rady College of Medicine, Dean, Rady Faculty of Health Sciences, and Vice Provost Health Sciences. Dean Brian Postal, a 1976 graduate from the University of Manitoba, will give opening remarks. He was the founding president and CEO of the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, a position he held for 10 years. Dr. Postal has also served as the head of the Department of Pediatrics and of Community Health Sciences at the University of Manitoba and as the director of the J.A. Hildy's Northern Medical Unit. His research, published works, and professional involvement focus on Indigenous child health, circumpolar health, and human resource planning. Dr. Postal was inducted as a fellow in the Canadian Academy of Health Sciences in 2011, inducted into the Order of Manitoba in 2012, and appointed as a member of the Order of Canada for his leadership of and involvement in the advancement of clinical and academic health care in Manitoba. Dr. Postal.
Thanks, Ira. Wow, 1976, that was a long time ago, and I don't want to talk about it. I want to also acknowledge the guests that Dr. Ripstein listed today, and in particular, of course, Elder Lavalley for her remarkable words. Well, it's my job to extend a warm welcome to you and tell you a little bit about your class, the class of 2025. I said earlier, this is how you're going to be known for the rest of your careers, and over time you will come to savor it, that you're part of this class. Indeed, you're a very diverse group, certainly compared to 1976. 61 females, 45 males, 17 Indigenous students. This is all by self-declaration, which is the highest number ever in our school. 23 of you are first-generation university attenders in your families. 43 come from families with income levels below the Canadian median. 22 of you come from families where first language was neither English nor French. 36 have rural roots. 35 identify themselves as visible minorities. We have 6 in a francophone stream, and 4 define themselves as non-binary. Several also came to this country earlier in their lives as refugees. Now, we've worked hard over the last decade to improve the diversity, and I use the word purposely, to improve the diversity in our class, and I think you actually are proof of that effort. You'll teach each other through your diversity. You'll face a public that actually recognizes themselves in your reflections and you reflecting them. And of course, we hope you will teach us about your diversity. You'll also come to befriend your classmates in the class of 2025, who will become your colleagues for the rest of your careers. You'll enjoy your future class reunions, and it's quite fascinating watching reunions as they, over time, as the age span increases. So my own class is at 45 years, and there's suddenly a flurry of activity from graduates now all over the world, anxious to come back and see each other. Your reunions will occur after time has allowed you to reflect on your time in medical school and what you've achieved and what it's given you. Now, as we value EDI in the school, we've also taken a strong stand against racism in any of its forms. Last August, we passed an anti-racism policy called Disruption of All Forms of Racism that we now hold all of our staff, faculty, and students accountable to, and that now, of course, includes all of you. It's also being used as a template across the country in many, many medical schools and universities, and in such places as the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons. So we work hard to recognize and acknowledge and condemn all forms of racism, including the systemic racism that some of you have faced on your journey to us. So we want you to join us in that and hold us accountable for our efforts. We also emphasize social accountability in this medical school, and you will experience that through service learning opportunities, largely dealing with marginalized or underserved populations in our city and province. We participate in building homes for Habitat for Humanity about every second year. We host Discovery Day from students all over the province to help them understand what careers in healthcare might be about. We have several biomedical youth programs for core area children that you'll be able to participate in. And we run a summer basketball camp for core area children in our parking lots that's very heavily subscribed in non-COVID times. The future of healthcare also is going to change and is going to become more and more multidisciplinary in focus and team-based in delivery. You have the advantage of being part of a larger faculty, the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences, which also incorporates nursing and pharmacy, rehab sciences, and dentistry. So you'll be participating, in particular in your first 2 years, through the Office of Interprofessional Collaboration in cohorts of students from each of the colleges and working together on projects designed to outline what interdisciplinary care is about. You'll learn to improve patient care through these venues and learn how to improvise, adapt, and collaborate with other professions in the delivery of that care. Now we know, much as you look good and appear to be very self-confident, that deep down inside, as is typical over millennia of medical students, you're a little unsure of how you're going to perform and adapt, how you compare to the person sitting 4 seats over from you, and that one day soon we will discover that you're not as smart as we once thought you were at the point of entry. We know all that. We're good at what we do. You will all be able to graduate in 4 years' time. You have the horsepower to get there. The rest is really just about commitment, hard work, and ultimately over that time the development of empathy, humility, and caring. Now, Francis Peabody, in a speech to Harvard students in 1926 at this kind of entry, said, "The secret of the care of the patient is in caring for the patient." So keep that simple phrase with you. It's about everything you're going to be doing for the next 50 years. As of today, you will also be judged as a professional. So that means there's an expectation that you will be kind to yourself, to your colleagues, and importantly, to patients, that you will be measured in your interactions with your professors, with each other, and most importantly, with patients. And remember, because we've seen it far too often, that social media is in fact social media. Once you press that send button, it cannot be retrieved, and we've had many episodes where what was thought as a confidential discussion was widely shared and caused significant discomfort to the people involved. Now, your parents and families helped get you here. They will be curious. What are you learning today? What does it take to become a doctor? If they are doctors, some of them will be. It's not how we did it. So be generous with them. There is an instinct amongst most students to try to keep that close to the chest. It's your experience. You don't really want to take the time to share it. But just remember that they shared your diaper, or they changed your diapers. And soon they will start asking for medical advice. And I'll be meeting with each of you in small groups throughout the year. And I will guarantee that when I ask the question, have your parents or family started asking medical questions yet? You will all nod in the affirmative. Just remember, you have no advice to give. When it comes to medical advice now and frankly forever in the future, the appropriate answer is see your doctor. Now, we are all going to continue to traverse COVID together. This is not a one-time or a short-term event. We still have much to learn about it. There will be more waves, there will be more variants over time that we're going to have to adapt to and cope with. I think the vaccine mandates that have been announced will be helpful, frankly, and in my view, actually essential in managing this. We will do our best to keep you safe from exposures in the first 2 years and ultimately even in clinical settings as best we can. But we also recognize that as physicians, we all have a duty to care, which is what your colleagues really across the health system have been showing for the last 24 months. Finally, have fun. This will go by in a blink, although some days may not feel like that to you. And best of luck. We look forward to working with you and seeing you in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Postal. You actually have one piece of advice for your families already, which is get the vaccine. So you're on it. I'm delighted to invite the Honorary Audrey Gordon, Minister of Health and Seniors Care, to welcome the class of 2025 on behalf of the province of Manitoba.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Audrey Gordon, Minister of Health and Seniors Care for the province of Manitoba. I would like to begin by acknowledging that today's event is on Treaty 1 territory, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. It is my pleasure to send you greetings on behalf of Health and Seniors Care and the province of Manitoba. Thank you to Dr. Brian Postal and the rest of the faculty at the Max Rady College of Medicine for the gracious invitation to your inaugural day exercises. Today is a special day in your lives. You've worked hard to get to this point in your education and should recognize both these inaugural exercises and the white coat ceremony as significant steps on your journey to become physicians. The impact of the pandemic can be felt across the entire healthcare field and will have serious and long-lasting effects for years to come. The next generation of physicians will need to rise to the challenges of a post-pandemic Manitoba by learning the skills necessary to aid all Manitobans. In closing, I wish you all the best in your training and your future careers in healthcare. Whichever area in medicine you decide to pursue, I'm sure you will always ensure the well-being of your future patients by delivering safe and high-quality care. We look forward to working together in the years to come. Thank you.
Now, it's my pleasure to invite President and Vice Chancellor Dr. Michael Benarosh to bring greetings on behalf of the University of Manitoba. Dr. Benarosh.
Thank you, Dr. Ripstein, and thank you, Dr. Postal, for your words, inspiring words, and to Minister Gordon for taking the time to welcome our students. And I want to especially thank Elder Lavallee for starting this event with such a positive and important message for all of our students. And then finally, I'd like to welcome Dr. Gray from Shared Health here today, Dr. Zomiak and Bullard for joining us. Hello, class of 2025. It's wonderful that you've chosen to start your medical careers here at the Max Rady College of Medicine. And today, all of you are starting on a remarkable journey of learning and discovery. I wish so much I could be there with you, but safety protocols require that we do this in this format. But for the next few years, I know that you're going to learn the fundamentals of medicine and medical practice. But you will no doubt also learn much more, as we've heard from Dr. Postal. And I think part of this will be that you'll also learn about who you are and what you are made of. You've chosen a path that, while maybe challenging at times, I hope it leads to great satisfaction and that you can make important contributions to our society. Your medical training during the next several years, I know, will prepare you with the knowledge and job skills to face future challenges and allow you to enter the profession with a competitive edge. In this pandemic era, there are, however, new challenges that medical professionals must face, from the efficacy of vaccines to the precautions one must take to ensure patient safety and, in fact, our own safety. And medical professions have not only been providing care, but they've been leading the effort to keep our society safe. Repeatedly, medical professions have publicly advocated on behalf of their patients and society for the implementation of safety measures grounded in science. Just this past week, we've seen several medical professionals, several doctors coming forward advocating on behalf of society. The COVID-19 pandemic has raged throughout the world and has brought to light inequity in our society. The pandemic has taken full advantage of problems facing healthcare around the world, and disparities exist within and between countries that have been laid bare. COVID-19 knows no borders, but once again, medical professionals have been advocating on behalf of the most vulnerable in our society. As Dr. Postal mentioned, our medical school was the first to introduce an anti-racism policy, and I believe this reflects our school's belief that medical professionals, as well as everyone, has a responsibility to call out racism in all its forms. I know that your medical education at the University of Manitoba will prepare you to take up the mantle of remedying many of these issues across the globe, and I hope that many of you will answer the call. Above all, I want you to know that I am proud of you all, proud that you have taken this bold step to make a difference in the world, and proud that you have chosen the Rady College of Medicine to start your medical careers. Thank you, miigwech.
Thank you, Dr. Benarosh. Our next speaker represents a critical partner in the Max Rady College of Medicine and our learners and trainees. I am happy to invite Dr. Perry Gray, Provincial Lead, Medical Specialist Services, and Chief Medical Officer, to bring greetings and wise words on behalf of Shared Health.
Good morning and welcome to you, the class of 2025. 41 years ago, I sat where you are sitting at a ceremony much like this, class of 1984, University of Manitoba. However, medicine has changed at a remarkable pace in the last 41 years. What we can do for patients has grown, not at a linear rate, but at an exponential rate. And I've had the privilege to participate in the care of patients and with my colleagues, and we can now do things we thought unimaginable 41 years ago. So if you have a passion for treating and caring for patients, I say to you with all sincerity, it has never been better to be you. To be where you are now, a first-year medical student. I would love to trade places with you. Why? You are going to be able to offer patients life, function, and hope in situations I only dream about. Because for any and all patients, there is no such thing as the good old days of medicine. For patients, today is better than yesterday, but tomorrow will almost certainly be better. And that is the same for the physician who has a passion for patient care. It has never been better to be you because you represent tomorrow. You are tomorrow's healthcare. You are the future. Now, better does not mean easy or easier. The more we can do for patients, the more patients expect of us. As care becomes more complex and complicated, one individual is not enough. Medicine increasingly requires a team approach, a team of healthcare providers from many different professions, and you as a physician will be part of that team. Medicine also continues to specialize. Increased specialization means multi-professional teams. Working alone continues to diminish. To best serve our patients, teams must be connected, supported, and integrated, not just in a hospital, not just in a clinic, not just in a city. It must happen across the province, and that is the founding principle of shared health. Now, you can have the best of the past and even a better future. You will have that individual one-on-one doctor-patient interaction. You will see and experience the benefit of a multi-professional team. You will be part of a system that further advances care so that one day, 30 years from now, if you still have that passion for treating patients, one of you will be standing in front of the class of 2055, wishing you could start with them again, because it will be better. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Gray. Our next speaker plays a key role in our profession of medicine. I'm happy to invite Dr. Anna Ziomek, Registrar, College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba, to bring greetings on behalf of the college. Dr. Ziomek.
Good morning. I'm Anna Ziomek, the Registrar of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba, and it is a privilege to welcome you, the class of 2025, to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba. I wish I could have been there in person and met with each and every one of you. Unfortunately, COVID has changed many things for us, but I hope that we will be able to interact personally at some later date. You are now registrants of the college and must comply with our standards. Although you are students, the public will see you as physicians, albeit physicians in training, but nonetheless as physicians. Therefore, you represent the profession. People will expect more from you, and you will be expected to act accordingly. You are expected to comply with the Code of Ethics and Professionalism, which governs our entire profession. In so doing, you must demonstrate the virtues of compassion, humility, honesty, integrity, and prudence. Congratulations today on this very first day of the training that will take a number of years and will lead to you being practicing physicians. Again, congratulations and good luck. Welcome to the profession.
Thank you, Dr. Ziomek. It's now my pleasure to introduce the distinguished alumnus who will give this year's Allen Class Memorial Address. Dr. Jared Bullard was born in Nassau, Bahamas, and moved to Winnipeg with his family at a young age. He is a product of Manitoba training, having graduated with his Doctor of Medicine, including a BSc Med in HIV immunology at the University of Manitoba in 2004. And he completed his pediatric and medical microbiology residencies and a fellowship in infectious diseases, all through the University of Manitoba. He is currently the section head of pediatric infectious diseases and serves as a liaison to the Manitoba HIV program for both pediatrics and laboratory medicine. Dr. Bullard is the Associate Medical Director of CADM Provincial Laboratory, the public health laboratory for the province of Manitoba, and is part of the team directing the provincial response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Bullard and his CADM Provincial Lab team has been working closely with members of the National Microbiology Lab to provide evidence to assist in key public health infection control and clinical decision-making around COVID-19. He is an associate professor in the Department of Pediatrics and Child Health and Medical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. His professional interests include pediatric HIV, congenital syphilis, prevention of perinatal transmission of sexually transmitted diseases, and blood-borne infection. He is on both the Infectious Diseases and Medical Microbiology Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada exam committees. His personal interests include his family, his wife, Dr. Pamela Skrabic, and daughter Taya and son Donovan, traveling, and a high level of sarcasm. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jared Bullard.
Well, good afternoon. You all picked an interesting time to join medicine. I would like to thank Dr. Brian Postal for the honor of choosing me to provide you, the incoming class of 2025 at the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences, with the Allen Class Memorial Program keynote address. It's not often I get asked to share the stage with such an illustrious panel, and quite frankly, I'm not actually sure why I'm here. I think the reason I'm here is directly related to why it's an interesting time to be in medicine. For those who don't know me, although I had an excellent introduction from Dr. Ripstein, I am a graduate of the University of Manitoba, class of 2004, and a pediatric infectious disease specialist, as well as a public health medical microbiologist and virologist. I do promise to be on my best behavior and will keep my profanity to a minimum. You can always come and join me for an early exposure in pediatric infectious diseases to see me at my profane best. As I told Dr. Postal this morning, my wife reviewed this and she gave it the okay, so it should be fine. First, I will start with, if I didn't tell you this, would be a disservice to me as an infectious disease doctor. If you are eligible to get a vaccination, get vaccinated. Be aware that you have many touch points. Always use hand hygiene and avoid touching your face. If you're sick, and this is very hard for physicians, stay home. It is better that you don't spread whatever it is, COVID or otherwise, to your patients or your colleagues. It's also important that you wear a mask when you can't socially distance. So those are key things that I will just reinforce now. I would like to congratulate you all for achieving the first step in your goals of becoming a doctor. Very few people appreciate the dedication, discipline, and sacrifice it takes to be sitting where you are. You should give yourselves a round of applause. You're about as quiet as this morning, so I assume the orientation week celebrations were well enjoyed then, so that's good. I remember how many times my friends would be going out during my undergraduate degree and how I would choose, quite regrettably, to stay home and study or review a lab. The habits and skills you've acquired will serve you well. To the families of the students here today, you raised a doctor. A doctor. Maybe you are a doctor and your kid still chose to pursue a career in medicine. Your deception is now complete. Regardless, you should be proud that you have helped produce a person capable of becoming a doctor. It's not an easy task, and you should be commended. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are joined by the Honorable Audrey Gordon, the Minister of Health and Seniors Care. She is the first Black woman to that position, and it matters. When I look into the audience, I see a diverse group of faces who will serve the people of this province. Patients will look at their physicians and see themselves in you, and it matters. I was one of 2 Black medical students among a cohort of 300. I was the 14th Black man to graduate from the University of Manitoba with a medical doctorate, while my friend, colleague, and sister, Dr. Talisha Smith-Gorvey, was only the 2nd Black woman to do the same in 2005. I'm particularly proud to see so many faces like mine in the audience today. I see you. Many of you aspire to become a physician to be able to help people. Some were drawn to the intellectual challenge. Then there are the plastic surgeons, dermatologists, and ophthalmologists among you. We know why you've chosen medicine. This will be some of the hardest years you'll experience in your life and also the most rewarding. I know that's what we physicians say, but we mean it. Mostly, except when we don't. You will journey through your first years, learning that each exam and test you pass was the easiest exam you will take going forward. When you have finished your Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons exam, you will look fondly back at tests that took 2 weeks to study for instead of an entire year. This is a time for successes and opportunities to learn in a forgiving environment. Take advantage of this time. Even when the content is not to your liking, pay attention to the teaching methods used by the faculty. They will be instructive in showing you ways to successfully teach about cardiac tamponade, Salter-Harris fractures, or RT-PCR diagnostics. You can also learn methods that should be avoided. Learn how to learn. It is difficult to transition from a learning environment where we focus on metrics and the final grades. We are used to being the best, and you are now in a room of the best. You're likely no longer the best, but together you will be better. Focus on understanding and problem solving. Try to avoid fretting about minute details. A thorough and comprehensive understanding of physiology, psychology, anatomy, immunology, and of course, microbiology will serve you better than the trivial details of the most novel therapy that will be made obsolete in a few years. Learn about cognitive bias and how to appreciate it in yourself and in others. It is your nemesis. Anecdote is not evidence. Practice becoming more emotionally aware. In medicine, you will establish intimate relationships, and this can be emotionally charged. Recognize how your emotions impact your decisions and thoughts. Do not give in to fear, as it leads to anger, hate, and suffering. There's not one Star Wars fan here. Oh. Take the time to relax when it presents itself and get to know your colleagues. Learn from each other's diversity and be able to openly discuss both your differences and similarities. The communication skills you master in forming bonds that will last a lifetime will serve you when you are talking to an equally diverse patient. These soft skills should also be the focus of your studies. Your classmates will become your best friends and teachers. You will find yourself consulting with them through your journey as a doctor and drawing from their strength. Go to Ice Bowl. Even if you can't skate and don't know the rules of hockey, go to Ice Bowl. You never know, you may end up meeting your future spouse. It will make a lot more sense in your second year. It is essential that you learn respect. Start by learning to respect yourself. Know your limits. When you don't know, say you don't know. Appreciate that you have. Even better, preface your answer by saying, I don't know now, but I'll know tomorrow. Appreciate that you have finite personal resilience. When you have reached that limit, recognize it and ask for help. If you observe a problem within the system that repeatedly tests your resilience, let us know. Respect your colleagues, especially when you disagree with them. You are likely working toward a common goal, so keep that in mind. You will be a key member of the healthcare system as a medical student. You will gather essential data and practice your physical exam skills, which is another important skill to master. I will care intensely that the family cat, named Middens, prefers dry food to wet. Of course, I won't really care about the name or the food preference, but I probably will care about the cat and who cleans the litter box. The nurses and other members of the healthcare teams will teach you as much as the residents and faculty. Respect the nurses. I'll repeat that. Respect the nurses. Respect their opinion and guidance. You will see the dynamic with them change as your respect for each other grows. Disrespect them at your peril. Keep your mind open to the possibilities of your future. It's okay not to know what you want to do, and you may find that even if you're certain, one rotation can change your life. Find mentors, ask them questions, and experience different specialties. The more obscure specialties of public health and laboratory medicine have now become an essential in how we deal with this pandemic. In closing, I will share a few quotes from my personal journey through medicine that have hit home with me. The first comes from Dr. Abhay Devakar, who was a brilliant little angry pediatric cardiologist. I had called him for a consult, and I said I had to go to a teaching session, and I didn't have details for him. And his exact words were, "I'll come give you a teaching lesson." As a consultant, I can tell you that you should read the chart and know your patient and the pertinent details. Be prepared. You will learn more if you have thought through the clinical problem that you're consulting about and you're ready to discuss it. If you're on the medical or surgical team, you are responsible for knowing those patients even when they aren't your patient. Is their pet cat named Middens? You need to know that. Nothing. Second one comes from a rotation when I was a pediatric resident in the emergency room from Dr. Milton Tenenbean. Sometimes the hardest thing to do in medicine is to do nothing. Patients will have an expectation that you will help them. Many will expect treatments or investigations as an outcome of their encounter with you. That may not be the help they need, and it's important to minimize the unnecessary. You will find that these are often the hardest conversations to have because not doing something is very hard for us to do. The final one comes from my wife, Dr. Pamela Skrabic, and so this was advice she gave to a medical student who asked her how they could improve, and she said, "Be better." That isn't as savage as it seems. Be a better version of yourself the next day. Sometimes you will not be at your best, but try to be better tomorrow. I have personally applied this concept during the pandemic, all while cycling through the 5 stages of grief. You are the future of medicine. We look forward to having you as students, colleagues, and friends. The members of the Faculty of Medicine and I look forward to meeting you. You may not realize it, but you will have a lot to teach us as well. Oh, and learn how to unmute on Zoom. It's that little microphone button. It's really not that hard. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. We're so pleased you'll be able to join us in person to welcome the class of 2025 and share your perspective as a young leader with our province's future physicians. We now move on to the white coat ceremony for the Max Rady College of Medicine class of 2025. Through ceremonies and rituals, society passes on its values and publicly acknowledges the importance of certain transitions in the lives of its members. Such events provide inspiration and help to outline society's expectations. The Arnold P. Gold Foundation White Coat Ceremony welcomes entering medical students and helps establish a psychological contract for the practice of medicine. This event emphasizes the importance of compassionate care for the patient as well as scientific proficiency. The White Coat Ceremony was initiated on August 20th, 1993 at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. Currently, a White Coat Ceremony or similar event takes place at a majority of Canadian and American medical students and internationally. Typically, at this point, I would ask the cloakers, special guests, and members of the deanery to step forward, and 10 students at a time would come up on stage and be cloaked with their white coats for the first time. But since nothing is typical this year, students will be stepping up on stage in groups of 2 or 3 and putting on their white coats themselves for the first time. Parents, please don't worry. We have a University of Manitoba photographer present who will be taking photos of each group of 3 in their white coats, and we will be sharing these photos with all students. The cloaking of the class of 2025 begins with the first 2 students. Lana Muchkeach and Catherine McKenzie. Gaganjot Mavi and Vatine Magaji. Abigail Meadows, Sydney McLaughlin, and Kathleen Maxwell. Marissa Murray, Michael Moore, and Haram Memon. Taylor Nimchonuk, Katya Ochino, and Ryan O'Dwyer. Signe Penner Goki, McCoy Penner, and Juliana Perez. Naomi Peters, Ashlyn Peter, and Jocelyn Peranto. Jay Punge, Nicole Rabba, and Ashley Ricard. Dylan Robinson, Joshua Sawatsky, and Jesse Schmidt. Hamza Shah, Jennifer Setlak, and Roop Kamal Sidhu. Felicia Sinclair, Gurveer Sidhu, and John Short. Ina Siwach, Alice So, and Matthew So. Elizabeth Tingy, Olivia Thorlifson, and Tyler Zunn. Glenda Todd, Isham Umer, and Anna Turchinanova. Caitlin Wackel, Harmon Vatz, and Matthew Urachek. Ninglu Weng, Benedict Whiteman, and Carson Winters. Tyler Wong, Ye Young Wan, and Heather Wittick. Jeremiah Yarmy, Ken Jing, and Natalie Wright. Ashley Young, Alex Zaremba, and Mirha Soher. Now, if I can get all students to rise, and all doctors in the room. Dr. Postal will lead us in the Physician's Pledge.
Okay, we're going to do this together. Are you ready? As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster and honor the noble traditions. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities to provide care of the utmost standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Please be seated. So thank you very much. This brings the afternoon to a close. You're about to undertake an orientation, of course, that's been adapted to COVID. We will be providing you with lots of information, most of which, because of the level of your catecholamines, you won't remember. So we know that. We have lots of resources available to you. Learn how to use them, because from time to time, each and every one of you may need some supports that you're not quite aware of. We do start the curriculum with a bit of a graded approach, because we're careful not to overwhelm you. You might think the first 2 weeks are easier than you thought it was going to be, and this isn't so bad. Don't get used to it. The intensity picks up quickly, and you really must stay ahead of it. If there's a lesson for all medical students, is the era of your life that you could cram your way through tests and exams is really over. And you really must, especially with the exam structure that we have in place of frequent but short exams, or at least single topic exams, if you get behind, you will not catch up. So with that, welcome. Have fun. I'm not so sure about the ice bowl, but it's something for you to consider, but we'll talk about that closer to the ice bowl in terms of some of your other professional obligations. But please have a great time, get to know each other as best you can. It's not quite as easy right now, but you really will become each other's best friends and colleagues through life. So thank you very much. I think we're good to go.